Yes, Abhijit, you have raised your hand. EduPristine, could you please make me host so that I can unmute participants?
Hello.
Yes, Abhijit.
Yeah, it's yet to be started, right?
Yeah, I'm in 1-2 minutes. We'll start.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Let's start. And I have I have allowed you to speak. So if you are not speaking, please be on mute. And if you have any question, you can just and we can talk and we can see that what exactly is the doubt. Okay, so before I start, let me give you my background. So today, first of all, we are going to understand, what FRM is and what kind of syllabus it is, how the preparation can be done. So let me give you my background. My name is Rupinder Monga. I did my engineering from IIT Delhi in 2005 in mechanical engineering. I worked in sales for 2 years. Then I moved to Europe again, and I did my master's in financial management from RSM, so Rotterdam School of Management. And I worked there for 1.5 years and then came back. And then since then, I'm working in finance and technology. Actually, it's a mix of kind of fintech. So my experience is in uh, I have around 13 to 14 years of experience. In that experience, mostly except the first 2 years, I have worked in finance, okay, and analytics. And I train anything on finance like project finance, FRM, CFA, FM, financial modeling, and analytics, business analytics, marketing analytics, or these kind of things, right? Machine learning. Now, FRM. So I'm also FRM charter. I did CFA 1, but actually I first gave CFA 1, and then in the company where I was working, the requirement was for FRM. So then I actually completed FRM and then became the FRM charter. Okay. So that's about me. Okay. Now let me start. Basically, I've been training for almost more than 10 years. I started in 2010, so it's been actually February 2010. So it's been more than 10 years, 11 years. So, but it's like part time and full time mixed together. Since then, I was having training. So FRM, as you know, is like financial risk manager, and the idea is basically if you are working in finance and if you are working in not working in finance but you want to enter into finance, there are two certifications which are there in the market. One is CFA, another is FRM. And usually, when I was preparing, I was trying to enter into finance domain, then for me also it was kind of a difficult decision that whether to go for CFA or FRM. As I told you that I first went for CFA, but later I realized I'm more like suited for FRM, and my company also required FRM because I was working in such an environment that FRM was required. So that suited me. So I went for FRM. Okay. So CFA has its own importance and FRM has its own importance. Now, when we talk about FRM, so just basic idea about FRM is that it's by GAP. Okay. Now it's a US based organization, and in this basically they have multiple exams, and one of them is FRM, and FRM is the most famous one as compared to CFA. CFA, I think it came in 60s, like 65, 67, 1965, 67. This came in 1996 only. Yes, Rajesh. I mean, you don't need to raise hand. You can just speak if you can. And okay, you cannot speak. Let me allow you to speak. Okay. Yes. Any doubts, Rajesh? You have something to say? Nothing. Okay. So I was explaining that this is relative to CFA. It's quite new exam, but within like small period, it has gained very much importance. Okay. Now the reason why I say it has become important, one thing is people like us, like when I was in non-finance category, the reason I did my masters and I did FRM or CFA actually started. The reason was that I wanted to enter into a finance field. Now, another reason is even if you are in finance field and there are few jobs which require CFA or FRM. To give an example, and I give this example to everyone. So this was the example before I became FRM charter, and I already cleared CFA one by that time, but FRM charter I did not clear by that time. So there was a job in World Bank in Chennai. I was in India then only. So in World Bank there was a job, and the requirement was that along with the other requirements that the person has to be FRM or PRM. So we'll discuss PRM later. So FRM. So it was required. It was mandatory to go for FRM. If you don't have FRM certification, then you cannot even go and apply for the job. Okay. So it was in 2011. So it's, I mean, at that point of time, right, in 2011. Today it has totally changed. Today almost every company looks for that. If uh, they don't make it mandatory, but they do say that CFA or FRM will be good, okay, for the job. So if you are not basically, I mean, if we are not CFA or FM, I mean, we are not able to compete. So I'm not judging your skills. It's just the certification which is required these days, because it gives an idea to the other party. Because if you are working in an investment bank or any kind of bank, they have customers, right? Clients. Now those clients, especially post 2008, they require some kind of assurance that the person who is handling their money, either he is CFA or FRM, because at least they can say that okay, the person is knowledgeable enough, right? So it doesn't mean that practically you don't have knowledge. Practically you might have knowledge more than the person who has FRM certification, but to prove that you have the knowledge, you have to have this uh, certification, right? So one is, if you want to enter into this field, you need some kind of certification. Even if you are in this field, you need some kind of certification, right? To give an example, 15 years ago, everybody wanted to do MBA, right? Because that was something extra. Okay. Now, if everybody was BCom or BTech, and you are MBA, so you had extra edge. The same thing is happening today. So everyone has MBA today. Okay, so everyone is equal. I mean, I'm not comparing with IM, right? So that's a different category. But if you talk about all other colleges, like lower grade colleges where everyone is same, we cannot compete. We need something extra. So that extra edge, if we can get it through certifications. Now 10 years after from now, it will be something else, right? So with time everything changes. So now the time is for certification. Now to give an example, if you have, let's say you are FRM, I'm not FRM, we have the same background, then and same knowledge, they will prefer you over me, right? Obviously, if I have some extra basically knowledge or some extra experience than you, then they might prefer me. But if we compare apple to apple plus FRM or CFA certification, then they will prefer you, right? So another example, which is live example, it was in 2013 or so, I think, right? So in one of my companies, two people joined, and that gave me basically an idea that I should also opt for some kind of certification. The two people joined, and they said both were like recently graduate from BCom and from Delhi University, same college, same batch, everything. They got the same salary because they had zero experience. Now they started at a very low package, around 2 lakh package at that point of time, in 2013 or so. Okay, so I had CFA one then, but not FNM. So they basically got around 2 lakhs package, 2.5 or 2 lakhs. Within 2 years, both of them had like around 3.5 lakh package around that. Now, one of the person actually did CFA one and CFA two. Now, this is an example of CFA, but the idea is about the certification. The same logic will apply on FRM also. So I never want to lie to you to just say that it was FRM example. They were CFA. Now, one did not do anything. One did CFA one and CFA two, and when they applied for the job. So, with certification, the person got extra knowledge also, right? So, say they have same background, same college, same experience, same company, same team. Okay. Now, one person got a jump to 7 lakhs from around 3.5. Another got 5.5. Okay, different company, and there can be other things also. But if we compare that, all things are there, right? So the same logic applies on FRM. I gave an example for FRM is basically Rajesh, Neha. I'll reply to you in a minute. So the same example I gave you for FRM, that in few areas FRM is required, in few areas CFA is required. Okay, so it's totally up to you that what do you want to do. Okay, now if I give you the difference, now Rajesh saying can we do CFA? CFA coaching is available online, and uh, Neha, I'll explain this while explaining FRM, and later I'll explain your question. Now let me explain FRM first. Now FRM, as I told you, it's risk management, right? So FRM is risk management. Now the benefit of CFA is that if you do CFA, the number of opportunities are more, but if you do FRM, number of opportunities are less. But the salary which I have seen, obviously it can be different for different person, but what I have seen is more for FRM person. Okay, even if the number of jobs are less as compared to CFA, though the number of jobs are very high for FRM. In India, actually, people, many companies, many HRs actually, especially, they don't understand the difference between CFA and FRM, so they put both of the things, and they have equal value. But I'm in Canada. Here, I've seen that FRM has more monetary value, first of all, and secondly, basically, if in bad times, right, bad times like COVID started, now things have started improving, but in bad times like COVID and what happened to 2008, the first job which went away was CFA, and the last job which went away, people got fired for FRM. Why? Because risk management is required even in bad, especially in bad times. Risk management is required because you need to control the risk. So for that you need risk management people, right? So in 2008 also, risk management department was the last department to get fired. First other departments got fired, right? So that's the important of risk management, because you need to basically control risk, and that is there in every company. Every company means every company. Even if you talk about, let's say, uh, this culture is not common in India right now, but like automotive companies like Maruti. Okay, so outside India, like in US, Canada, they hire FRM people for these companies also, because every company face credit risk because they are giving loans, right? And they also face operational risk. Operational risk is very important because, for example, strike, machine failure. So these kind of risks are very important to run a company, right? So those people also hire FRM people, right? So in India, if in India mainly people basically banks or finance companies hire FRM and CFA, not like automotive or these things. Uh, Soon, I mean, it might change, but today's day, you can say finance companies, banks, they will hire CFA and FRM people. Outside India, if you're planning to work outside India, like Canada, US, or maybe UK, Europe, then it's important to do these things. I mean, because almost all companies basically go for these two things, either of these, especially FRM, because risk is there in every company. Investment is not there in every company. Like automotive company, they do project finance, they go for projects, but they don't do like any portfolio management which CFA does. So CFA role is not there, but FRM role is everywhere. Okay, so depending on your interest, so if your background is uh, maths or stats, or maybe you're interested in these calculation based things or controlling things, then FRM is for you. But if you are more towards like economics, accounts, then CFA is for you. Okay, now many CA asked me that, okay, how FRM will help them. Now many of you work in audit. Audit is just risk controlling, right? So basically audit is what, that you are auditing the books, so you're just finding out if there is any problem or not. If there is a problem, that is a risk to the company. So that's the same thing, right? So it's, even CAs do risk management. I know many people who are CAs and who have done um, risk management. Yes, I see a hand raise. Who is this? Okay, it's gone now. Okay, so that is basically the role of risk management. And if somebody says like CA for CFA, if you are into investments like portfolio management, then CFA is for you. So CFA is for investments, portfolio management. If you want to become a portfolio manager or like or equity research, then CFA. But if you want to look at risk side, audit side, then FRM. So you need to do FRM. So that is the difference between CFA and FRM. Now, let me focus on FRM back. So FRM exam. FRM is divided into two parts, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is basically we have each one of them are of 4 hours exam, level 1 and level 2. So both of them are 4 hours each. In part 1 there are 100 questions, in part 2 there are 80 questions, and in part 1 you can give it on in May, July and November. Earlier it used to be in May and November only. Earlier it, guys, if you're not talking to the class, please be on mute. If you're talking to the class, it's fine. Then earlier it used to be only in May and November, but now because of COVID, it has become uh, May, July, and November. Then this is in May and December. Now you can give immediately, like in May you can give level 1, in May you can give level 2, but I always recommend, earlier it used to be on the same day, right? So many, I know many people who gave in the morning, they gave CFA1, FRM1, in the evening they gave FRM2. I personally don't prefer it. I mean, you can say that I I can't study both of them together, okay? Because uh, another problem is that if you fail FRM1, they will not even check your FRM2. So we don't want that, right? So we want that at least they should check. So first we should, I mean, that's my recommendation. First clear FRM1, then appear for FM2. Okay, so that should be the idea. Okay, so prior to 2009 that was only one exam, so that's why they kept it same. If you want to do it in the same day, you can still do it, FRM1 and FRM2. Now in basically FRM1 exam fee for, so there is a registration fee which is called enrollment fee, which you need to pay $400 before giving FRM1. Now in case you don't pass, you don't need to pay it again, so this is one time payment. Okay, then there is exam fee. So exam fee for, let's say, FRM1 and FRM2, so they are same actually. So there's 550, 550. Now this is early bird, early registration, that if you register before time, if you register close to the exam, then it is 750. So you are going to save $200 US dollars, which is almost 14,000, 15,000 rupees. Then you will be able to basically, if you plan on time, you can do it. Now many people say, can we cancel this exam? Now in this, because I've given both the exam now, because of COVID, there was a provision to postpone CFA and this also. But in normal scenarios, for CFA you cannot postpone, you can only cancel, and you will not get any refund. But if you give like medical records and everything, then they will refund you. FRM, if you pay $100, you can postpone. Okay, so if you want to postpone, you can just pay $100 and you can postpone your exam for FRM. Yeah, but I don't recommend that. Then it has various centers. Let me show you various centers. So Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Pune. Now, what I've seen is, I've never seen these addresses changes, because I gave FRM1 and FRM2, I think, in 2 years or 3 years gap, 2 years gap, I think. And this basically, I went to the same place to give the exam. So Rajesh, this is just an introduction about FRM. It's not the class. It's not a FRM class or intro class. It is just an introduction to FRM for those who just want to understand what is FRM, how it can help everyone. So that is what it is about. Okay, so these things are basically, if you know, I mean, if you are one of these cities or close to these cities, you can go and appear, and normally it doesn't change. Now many people say that how to prepare for FRM exam, how to prepare for FRM exam. Now there is a book called, I mean, Philip Zorian. I studied from this, but the problem, because uh, I appeared in like 2014, I cleared. I think in 14 I cleared. Kashish, that's what I'm going to explain. So it was all, I mean, a good material at that point of time. So they have not updated material. The reason why it is good, because it includes previous exam questions, FRM previous exam questions, but it has material for both FRM1 and 2. So if you don't know the difference between the syllabus of FRM1 and 2, you will get confused. So what I suggest is, it's very good book, very good material written, and I mean, I studied from this some part. Okay, but I mean, you should study from this only if you have already completed the syllabus and you want to understand a particular topic, or you want to just practice questions. So by looking at questions, if you don't know which part it is, I mean, you might be working on FRM2 questions, and if you're appearing for FRM1. So first study all the topics from other places, and once you are ready, practice from Philip Zorian also. And this is online, you can search it free. Then there is core reading material. Now core reading material is basically detailed material. So if you don't have any background in finance or anything about risk, then core reading material is very good for you, but it requires time, right? It requires, like, because it has 4,000 pages, so you have to do it in detail. Okay, then there is a book called, if now if the purpose of your purpose of studying is only clearing exam, then this book is enough, more than enough, right? So many people don't go for this, many people go for like Schweitzer or something like that, but it's totally personal preference. But this book is very good because this is by GAP, so it has all the syllabus. Okay, so there's no chance the syllabus is not covered. So it has a syllabus and it has relevant questions also. Okay, so I recommend core reading material. Then if you want to study more, not for passing exam but understanding, so there's a book called Options, Futures and Other Derivatives. Okay, yes, Rajesh, some of the classes I take. So currently the current batch I'm taking. Okay, so Nikhil, give me a minute, I'll answer that. Okay, now options, futures and other derivatives is basically if you have interest in studying more about FMP, so financial market products like options, derivatives, or basically futures, forwards. If you want to study about them in detail, then options, future and other derivatives also a very good book. This is by the person John C. Hull. So this is the best author for this subject. He's a professor at University of Toronto, and he's the best. I mean, I learned everything about my experience with 13 years in financial markets only. I learned everything from this book. But again, if you have interest, this is not for the exam. I mean, it will help in the exam, but not the full syllabus, only the FMP part. Then Nikhil is asking Schweitzer. I mean, it's a good book, but if you have knowledge and if you have less time, then you should go for Schweitzer. Okay, so it's concise. It's around 1500 pages. So if it is 1500 pages, so it means it will take almost one third time of the core reading material. But it's concise. Also means that you should have prior knowledge. Okay, so I mean, it's a decent book. You can go for it. Okay, that's Schweitzer. So that's how you can basically prepare for the exam. Now somebody asked that how much time it is required. Now again, there's no one figure. If somebody is telling you that um, 200 hours or 300 hours or 400 hours, that's a lie. I mean, it depends on you. So to give an example, I know many people, they are not able to clear in 1 year, and there are many people who are able to clear in 20 days also, and I know them personally, no lie. I mean, there are people 19 days to be exact, they studied only for 19 days and they cleared it. Again, now maybe they had prior knowledge, maybe they are very good in studying, understanding. So depending on basically your background, so if your background is finance, then you might need like 250 hours of studying. But if it's non-finance and you don't have any knowledge what you're studying, then I think it should be around 400 to 500 hours. Okay, so depending on, so the thing is basically you need to see the syllabus, and then basically understand or think that, okay, do you have knowledge about those topics? If no, then say 400 hours. If yes, then maybe 250 hours. So between 250 to 400 or 500 hours, you can say 250 to 500 hours is the requirement. I know many people clearing it in 50 hours also, but that's a different story, and those are exceptions. Now, Nikhil, if you have prior knowledge about quants or finance, then it's a decent book. You can go for that.
Uh, Actually, I meant whether should have prior knowledge about quant or about finance or both for
You
to
should
refer to
have or
Sridhar
you
Kapna.
have. Do you have or do you want to have?
I have knowledge about finance because I'm working in a bank right now, but
Okay.
I'm not that good in stats or probability.
Okay.
That
So
is the major part of quant, I think, in
yeah,
FRM.
so I mean in FRM one sorry, in FRM one, it's mostly it's all stats actually. Okay, so and it's good amount of stats, but if you study properly, I don't think it's a difficult one. See, I don't know about your background, so my background is engineering, so for me stats was easy because I knew stuff, but it's not that difficult. I teach also, right? So it's some part can be, so 70% is numerical, which is very easy. 30% is theoretical. That sometimes feel like, okay, what we are studying, because for that you need to go deep slightly. But it's 70%. I don't think that, if especially if you are working in finance, it will not be a problem at all. Okay, so anyone who understand finance, even so, like depending on what finance. So if you just, I mean, if someone just work in bank, like as a teller, that is not a knowledge, right? So if the person works as, let's say, maybe some kind of financial products, then he or she might have financial product knowledge. So depending on which department in bank also. So the idea, what I'm saying is that, I mean, there are 4 topics. One is quants. So quants is, as we discussed, that it is stats. Okay, now, I mean, if you have stats background or engineering background, great. If you don't have, then you might, I'm not saying you will not be able to do it, but you need some extra effort, that's all, depending on. So it's not difficult, it needs extra effort, so it's 20%. Then foundations of risk management. Now foundations is basically introduction about risk, different kind of risk. And finally case studies, right? So case studies are basically what actually happened in real life. So that is knowledge base. Okay, theory base, 20%, not difficult. Then we have FMP, which is financial market and products. Now this is more numerical, like 60-70% in numerical, and 30-40% is actually theoretical. But it's again from the market. So like if you study about futures, forwards, these kind of things, if you have interest in products, then it's easy. If not, then you might need to like put some extra effort. Then last is valuation. Now this is a bit technical. I'll not say difficult, it's a bit technical, which normally we don't see. So FMP we might see in commonly in news and these kind of things. Foundation we might see in news and everything. Quants, if you have like a background, you might have seen. Now valuation and risk model is something, it's not difficult, but you might not have seen it previously. I mean, if you don't have any experience in quantity finance or basically risk management, so you might not have seen it. So that's the syllabus. Okay, so FMP and valuation and risk model is 30-30, and foundation and quantitative is 20-20%. Okay, so organically you work in housing loan department. So I don't know basically what exactly you do, but if you are working purely on loans, then it's, I mean, uh, it's time value of money, you might know. I mean, but I think if you're working in a bank, you might be getting some other knowledge also. So depending on what background you have. So as I told you, that this is common sense kind of thing. This is stats. This is not exactly common sense, but this is, I mean, very common to hear what we hear in the market. And then this is slightly technical. So if you don't have maths background, so I'll say you'll struggle in valuation, but rest, if you put some extra effort, it's easy. Okay.
Sir, I have completed my NCFM, so how helpful that would be to FRM?
NCFM is mostly linked to FMP, but NCFM is very basic. Okay. So as compared to FRM, so I'm not saying basic, but as compared to FRM depth, it's basic. So FMP, that's the only thing it covers basically, as NCFM, FMP, or even at a basic level.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it doesn't mean that, I mean, it will help you because you have a basic understanding, so you will be able to grasp everything quickly. Okay, so that, so it's not that you have already studied, but you will be able to grasp it quickly. Okay, so this is 20%, 20%, 30%, 30%. Then calculator. Now there are 3 kinds of calculator. One is called HP.
So what? So sorry to disturb you. What
Yeah,
about the those who've completed their CA? Will the SFM portion help out in this?
yeah. So SFM slightly helps in foundation. That's all. So you might have
Oh,
studied about like CAPM or these kind of things, right?
yeah.
So yeah, so that is just a like 20% within foundation.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not a CA, so I can't comment on full
So
level.
we've studied everything: capital budgeting, derivatives,
So
FNO,
so
and
okay. So then basically derivatives come in FMP, but I don't think that is in that much detail which we need. But yes, it will help you in understanding and basically understanding advanced part also, which is there in FMP or value. Even in valuation and risk, there is
yeah, even
advanced.
valuations we've done like CAPM and the
No, no.
other.
So that this is not this valuation. Okay. So this is
Okay.
value at risk. That how much at risk is there if we have some kind of position. So CAPM is like equity model, that is different. So if you talk about CFA, you can say that okay, there one or two subjects are covered with SFM, but here overall 10% I'll say that will be covered. But yes, again, anything whatever you have studied, it will help you because you have the basic understanding and you will be able to understand other things quickly.
But this is all for the first level, right?
Yeah.
And
So
what
I'll come
about
to
this?
level 2 in a minute. I'll
Oh,
come to level 2 in a minute. Level 2 is entirely different from this. Okay. And let me just explain the calculator, then I'll explain level 2. Then Texas BA2 professional. Now, I mean, it's my personal opinion. Okay. So it's not that I've never used SP12C. And if you go on internet also, like YouTube videos, you will find very less videos on SP12C. So not many people use SP12C, but I'm not against it. I've never used it. I, I cleared my exams with Texas BA2 plus. Okay. Now the difference between these two is, first of all, this is $1,000 expensive than Texas BA2 plus. Okay. So for me, when I was giving exam, I was a student, so money was an issue for me. So I bought Texas BA2 plus. And the difference between plus and professional, the usage is there are around 2 or 3 functions which are there extra in professional for the exam purpose. Okay. Now, only 2 or 3 concepts which you can easily solve in professional. Those things you can solve in plus also, but I mean, there's no direct button. So there are, I mean, number of steps you have to do, but there's no guarantee that those questions will come or not in exam. Okay. So if you don't have money problem, or I mean, you don't mind spending extra $1,000, then go for Texas BA2 professional. But this is equally good. Okay. So Texas BA2 plus. And I mean, when you join EduPristine, so all the questions which require calculator proper will be used solved with calculator, and explain that how to quickly solve it. Plus, there are thousands of videos available on YouTube for anything which you want to learn for Texas, for plus also, for professional also. Okay. So buy any one of these, because see, the idea is why I don't like I've never used professional. Why I don't want or recommend professional is because in real life we don't use calculators, we use computers, right? Excel or other softwares to solve these things. So these days we don't need calculators. So this professional we would have used it in case there was no computer, and professional would have been very good, because in practical life you need those things, but that can be done directly with the Excel. So I don't think it's worth it, but I mean, if you have the money, so then go for professional. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is Sanjeev Kumar Behra.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Actually, I just want to ask that actually I'm into financial field, but for less means years, because prior to that I was into different fields. So, but I have cleared derivative, mutual fund, and research analyst of NISM, and
Okay.
I'm into stock market also. I had worked in angel broking, then Reliance. So, but actually now I had given trying to give the exam for a specialist officer bank for that finance division. So I really liked finance part. So
Okay.
actually, but the main problem is my age criteria. Actually, I am around 36. So means is it possible now at this time to get it into means FRM, financial risk management, and it means passing that
So
exam? And
then there are examples who have shifted to this market at this age. Yeah, I know personally. But to be very frank, I'll not just sell it to you that okay, you can go and do it. It requires effort. Okay. But it can be done. So the best part normally what people follow is that you if you are working in finance company, bank or something like that, it's already great. Why? Because jumping within the company is easier than looking for a new job. Okay.
yeah,
So the best part will be, especially with your age and experience, that if once you clear this, okay, then you can look for job opportunities in your company which will have this role or experience like risk management or maybe in uh, derivatives or anything like that or quants. So then basically once you shift, then after 1 year if you want to shift to another company, then it will not matter what was your experience, because you are coming with, you will be able to equate it or basically match it. So if you had total 4 years of experience, 3 years normally something doing else, and 1 year for risk management, you will be able to link it, right? I'm not saying to lie, but you will be able to link it, that how it was helping you. Okay. So once you are able to link, you will be able to prove that okay, it is not 1 year experience, it is 4 years experience. Okay. So the my suggestion will be, if this interests you, go for it, clear the exam within your company, try to find out a job opportunity in risk management department. Once you get
actually,
it,
sir, yeah, basically I am into sales division. So
yeah, I understand.
yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
get into this particular this means
So now
technical
you
part.
cannot get it because you don't have that experience, anything to
Yeah,
prove,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So even they will not entertain
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So what
This
I'm saying,
yeah, this certificate actually, if I'll pass it, then it will be proof for me that yeah, I know something.
that's what I'm saying. So basically, once you clear it, you can go to them, and and if there is a job opportunity, great. If it's not there, you can at least tell them this, okay? That, and that's how actually I did in one of my company. I was hired for something else, okay, and I had the knowledge of these derivatives and everything, and they got a very small project, like 3-4 days project on derivatives, and they in that department, in another department, they didn't have anyone. Now the problem they faced was that how can they hire anyone for 4 days? So they were looking, and one of my colleagues suggested, and I was like 3 days old in that company, and the person who hired me actually, he told to that team manager, uh, group manager, that okay, there is this person, he has derivatives knowledge. I said I have, and I did that project. Okay. So I was lucky enough, and then they loved it and they kept me in that department. I was hired for like not that great things, but I shifted to doing great things. I mean, which I loved actually. Great things means what I loved. Okay, so the idea is I shifted within the same company. So that same thing you need to do. I mean, and
Yes, sir. Yes,
right, and I was not 36 at that time, but I was like at around 30 years age that time when I shifted to my
yes,
department,
sir.
which I wanted.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So somebody asked me level two syllabus. So level two syllabus is this. So market risk measurement and management. So this is 20%, 20% credit risk, current issues 15%, and 10%. Sorry, current issues 10%. Operational risk is 20%, and risk management and 15%. So basically, risk is mainly divided into market, credit, and operation. But these days, liquidity is also a major risk. So four things they divide. Then they have current issues like what's happening these days, what kind of problems have been faced historically, and risk management and investment management is basically some part. So mostly it is theoretical. You can say for part one, you can say 60% numerical, 40% theoretical. Here you can say 70% theoretical and 30% mathematical, which you can expect. So I'm just putting some numbers. There's no fixed criteria. I'm just putting an average that okay, this can happen. Make sense? So I mean, the good things I already told you that these days most of the companies require some kind of certification so that you can move. Now, I was giving you an example of World Bank. So there it was, they wrote that either you go for FRM or PRM. PRM is basically UK based exam, okay, professional risk manager. So in this basically it's by Permia. I mean, it's a competitor of FRM. It has 4 exams. It's around 1100 USD. You can give at any point of time, and there is no order. Like in FRM, there is order level 1 and level 2. Here you have 4 exams. You can give whichever exam first, and then second, then third. For the total cost is around $1,100. Now, syllabus is almost similar to FRM. Now, this is UK based. Okay, so it's quite famous in UK. FRM is also famous in UK. But if you go to, so if your idea is to live in India or go to US or go to Canada, then only FRM. Do only FRM. But if your idea is to go to, let's say, Europe, especially UK, then you can go for either FRM or PRM. So PRM, it's not like above FRM, it's equal to FRM in UK and Europe, but for Canada, US, India, please go for FRM. Okay, FRM has better knowledge. In India, I mean, people have started knowing what is FRM, they don't know what is PRM. So that was for FRM. Then about EduPristine, how EduPristine can help you. So EduPristine,
I have a doubt.
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, so is in India, is FRM valued for the same tendency as in US or other countries?
No, to be very frank, no. The reason is people don't have knowledge about it. Okay, they are getting started doing it. Okay, so as I told you, the first example I saw was in 2011 when World Bank mentioned it. It was not the first. I mean, thing, but I saw it properly first time in 2011. Since then, if you go on Naukri and search for finance job, you will see that FRM or CFA is preferred, okay, or good to have or mandatory. Okay, so almost there is no job which does not say that I don't want FRM or CFA. Okay, so why I say slightly less, because people don't know the proper value of FRM and CFA in India. The reason being, I mean, the result of that, I told you that in US, companies like Toyota or these kind of companies also hire FRM. In India, Maruti is not hiring FRM, right? But banks are hiring FRM. Like now, FRM and CFA have become so important. So somebody is from, I think Nikhil is from SBI. So SBI is sponsoring their employees to clear CFA or FRM. I know many people actually, personally, who have given CFA or FRM, which was sponsored by SBI. Okay, because that is the importance. So even public banks are getting to know that okay, this is very important in today's world, especially in the investment world. Okay. Now, EduPristine, as I told you, it's been like 2008 started. I will not be able to share. So those are my friends. I can ask them, but I will not be able to share directly. Okay. So they are based out of Gurgaon, that I can tell you. Okay, so so they are based out of Gurgaon and they are not in day-to-day banking. I can check with them. No promises, Nikhil. Okay.
So,
So
what if you just clear the first part and you don't give the second part? Will that be of any help?
I mean, obviously, it will be of some help, but not the full. Okay,
Okay,
so
and what is the that the companies in UK require if we clear FRM? Is there any
so
specific work ex?
So it's not, so again, so many people, okay, so this is one question, and many people ask for what is what will be our salary. Okay, so I'll explain more the questions. So it depends on your experience and what kind of job you're applying. Okay, so there are starter jobs also. So it's not that if you're studying sitting in India, especially in COVID times, okay, if you're sitting in India and you clear FRM and you apply outside, 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 is a chance that you'll get a job directly. Okay, because it's not that they don't want people like you, they want people like you, but they have to sponsor visa for you people, and that's a difficult process for a different country. Okay, now if you are in UK, then it's much easier because they don't have to sponsor you. Are just like a normal, I mean, not a citizen, but you have a work permit or something like that, so it's easier for them to hire you. Okay, now assuming that you are in that country where you are looking for a job. Now let's say you're looking at a job in US or UK, and you have the work permit. Now they also hire fresher, so there will be fresher jobs. Okay, they also hire people with experience. So according to your experience, there are jobs availability. It's not that you will be basically you have to have 4 years of experience before joining. No, they have freshers. I did my masters in Europe, and I basically at that point of time I was only CFA 1. Okay, but I got the job. I was a fresher, and I got the job there. I worked 1.5 years, and then basically because of personal reasons I came back. But the idea is that experience will vary, and so the your position or title will vary. So basically it will be slightly difficult if you don't get opportunity within your organization. So it will be slightly difficult, especially if you don't have any prior experience in risk. Okay, but as you are in bank, then I mean you can get a job, but with not that much, you can say, value. It will not be worth it. Okay, so I would prefer if you can get in the same bank and then shift. Okay, so and same the answer for salary. So if you salary is not fixed, right, so it can be 2 lakhs, it can be 20 lakhs, it can be 2 crore also, right? So the idea is that what is your background is, do you have any experience? So if you want to compare, let's say if I'm a BCom, you are a BCom, you are with FRM, you'll get a better salary from me. But if you compare that I'm FRM with BCom, I can't compare with you, right? But I am from IIM, you are from IIM, and you have FRM over and above, then they will obviously prefer you over me. So it's relative, it's the extra edge. It's not like, it doesn't mean anything standalone, right? So it has to be with something. So if you have done bachelor's, so it will be considered over and above your bachelor's. If you have done MBA, it will be over and above your MBA. Okay, so education, I was explaining, it's been, so they started training with FRM only, and more than around 13 years of time, it's been 13 years they have been training in FRM and other things. So they have now a presence in finance, accounting, okay, and other things. So they're leading provider for accounting and finance. So with as per like, I mean, I've been training with EduPristine for 12 years. So I've been to Bank of America to teach different things. Again, Bank of America or Credit Suisse, HSBC. So I didn't go to all places. I went to Bank of America, EY, KPMG. So all big companies, EduPristine have gone and trained. Major colleges, IIT Delhi, BITS Pilani, IMC, FMS, ISB. So we have gone to these places also to train. And the best part, another best part of advertising training is you'll get the knowledge about FRM so that you can clear. But when you go for an interview, you don't need only hard skills, you need soft skills also. So soft skills training is also included. Guys, if you are not speaking, I'm putting you on mute.
Uh, uh, Rupinder, one thing I would like to know from you. I am into credit and risk, and I'm into this finance sector for last 16 years.
Okay.
And I am into credit and risk at a middle level in
Okay.
an organization. So how this FRM is going to help me? I have done MBA. I have done some other qualifications
So
also.
I mean, you have all the background, right? First of all, it will be very easy for you to clear because you're already in this field. Okay, that's first thing. Okay, now whether it's worth it or not, right? Now, when you move up the ladder, right? Now, so especially if your company or bank is multinational, just an example, and you want to move out also, and if you have something because you are in risk, so FRM is, I mean, better for you. So if you have FRM, then you can basically compete with other people because they are coming again with similar background, right? So if you have something extra, then it's better to move up the ladder. So moving up the ladder or moving to offshore opportunities or these kind of things, so FRM will help you in this thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I was explaining then, so we Education has faculty with FRM credentials, and their ratings are more than 4.6. Average rating is 4.68 out of 5. And Education also provide placement assistant, placement. So this is, I mean, first of all, it's free. It's not a job guarantee, but it's basically they will link you to the companies who are looking for people from finance or for finance or maybe for FRM. Okay, so basically there are many jobs available, but the problem is we are not able to reach them. So EduPristine works like a job recruiter or basically HR firm. I mean, EduPristine is not charging students. EduPristine is not charging companies. So they're just connecting them. So EduPristine gets opportunities, and they will ask students, okay, if anyone is interested, if someone is interested, they can apply through EduPristine. That's it. And then EduPristine helps in interview preparation, these kind of things. Okay, so that EduPristine does. And this FRM1 training, 15 days training, 5 hours. Okay, and you'll get recordings of the classes, and there will be revision also, 5 hours for 3 days, and mock test, 4 mock tests you can get. So that is the offering. Anything you want to ask? Nothing? So, I mean, if you have any doubts about like EduScene or program, you might be already in touch with a counselor from EduScene, right? So they will contact you so that in case you have any problems, any doubts, you can clear them. Professionally, if you want to get it linked with me, you can look for rupindermonga@gmail.com on LinkedIn, and you can get connected with me. Okay.
So, when do we enroll if we want to give in December? What is the last
So
date?
normally, I mean, it's still time. Okay. So normally the batch goes like, if it's Sunday only batch, so 15 classes, so almost 4 weeks, 16 weeks. So I mean 4 months, so 3.5 months. So you can see if in November you want to complete, so 3.5 months before that you need to start for Sunday only batch. If you want Saturday Sunday, then maybe 2 months only. But the idea, I mean, again, depends on you when you want to appear. So accordingly, you can decide. And for the dates, I mean, admission counselor will connect with you, and he or she can give you like better knowledge about the dates.
Okay, and what about the exam registration? Can we still register for the December batch?
That I need to check because now my registration might be going on. Okay, so I don't know if the summer registration can be done right away. Sorry, I can't answer that. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Any other doubts? If no doubts, let's stop here. Okay, and
So last one. How
yeah,
long will it take if I am planning to appear for the November attempt? How
okay.
long should I like start up with the institution and coaching and all?
So again, depends on if you're working. Are you working?
No, I'm currently in my bachelor's.
Okay, so I mean, it's how much time you can spare. That's if you can spare, let's say 1-2 hours, then you should start today itself. But if you can spare 3 hours, then you can basically, I mean, you can delay also. Okay, so ideally you should keep, if you can spare 3 hours, okay, daily at least, and 5-6 hours on Saturday Sunday, then 4 months you should keep. Okay, but if you are able to spare less, then more.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, guys, let's stop here. Any doubts, you can send me on LinkedIn, or maybe for batches and everything, you can, I mean, the admission counselor will connect with you and you can ask your doubts. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.